Hello, my little ones. How are you all doing? I'm sure you all are making the most of your time at home. I welcome you all to today's English class. My dear students, today we are going to do a story from our book Treasure Trove. I hope you would agree with me that all the stories of Treasure Trove are really interesting and they teach us good moral values. Children, these moral values help us in making better human being of ourselves. They aid us in knowing the difference between the right and the wrong things, and thereby they enlighten not just our mind but also our souls. Today also, the story that we are going to read will definitely help to incorporate some good moral value in our lives. So, first of all, children, before we begin our story, tell me one thing. Do you like visiting your grandparents? Yes, I'm sure, had it been an offline classroom scenario, I would have heard a big and loud "Yes, ma'am." Yes, all of us like to visit and stay with our grandparents. And right now also, some of you who would be living in a joint family must be getting the pleasure of seeing and spending time with your loving grandma and grandpa on a regular basis, right? And those in a nuclear family would always be eager to see their maternal and paternal grandparents. Am I right? Yes. So children, the story that we are going to start today is about a little girl who happens to visit her grandfather and spend time with him. The title of our story is Heidi at Grandfather's. So let's get started. Heidi is a story about a little orphan girl who is very kind and thoughtful of others by nature. She is extremely bright for her age of 5 years. She is taken to live with her grandfather, who lives in the Swiss mountains almost like a hermit. To everybody's surprise, Heidi's innocence brings out all the goodness buried in the hard-shelled heart of her grandfather. He begins to look after her as if she was a precious gift of God to him. The following is an extract from the classic Heidi by Johanna Spyri. So children, this is a small introduction of the story that gives us an insight of what this story is about. Heidi is a story about a little orphan girl. Children, orphan, what does orphan mean? Yes, orphan means a child whose parents are dead. Who doesn't have a mother or a father is called an orphan. So Heidi is a story about a little orphan girl, one who had no parents, who is very kind and thoughtful of others by nature. Now children, this girl Heidi, she is very kind. Kind means, yes, one who is very helpful, or you can say one who is gentle, one who takes care of others. So Heidi was a little girl who was very kind and thoughtful of others by nature. Thoughtful means caring, or you can say understanding. So she used to care about others' feelings, and her nature was kind. She is extremely bright for her age of 5 years. So children, we come to know that the age of Heidi was just 5 years. She was a girl of 5 years of age. But she was extremely bright. Extremely means very much bright. Bright here means intelligent. She was quite intelligent for her age of 5 years. Like she was 5 years old, but her intelligence, her brightness was much more than her age. She is taken to live with her grandfather, who lives in the Swiss mountains almost like a hermit. Now because she was an orphan, so she's taken to live. So she's taken to live with her grandfather. And where did her grandfather live? Yes, her grandfather lived in the Swiss mountains. Almost like a hermit. What does hermit means? Children, hermit is a person who lives alone, that is in solitude. Generally as a religious discipline, one who is away from the family, one who lives away from the family, almost like you can say a saint or a sage. So his grandfather, he used to live in the Swiss mountains almost like a hermit. He was away from his family. He used to live alone just like a saint. So Heidi, she is taken to live with her grandfather. To everybody's surprise, Heidi's innocence brings out all the goodness buried in the hard-shelled heart of her grandfather. Now to everybody's surprise. So it was a surprise for everyone. What was the surprise? That Heidi, that little 5-year-old girl, her innocence. Innocence means, yes, the purity of her soul. She brought out all the goodness. Goodness means, yes, the quality of being good is called goodness. Or you can say the righteousness. So Heidi's innocence, Heidi's purity, Heidi's pure mind and pure soul, it brought out all the good that was buried. Buried means something that is not shown in the hard-shelled heart of her grandfather. Hard-shelled means somebody who is rigid, who is strict. You can say somebody who is not easily moved or is uncompromising. So, Heidi, she brought out the goodness that was hidden in the hard-shelled heart of her grandfather. He used to live alone. He was quite a rigid person. But her innocence, Heidi's innocence, it was able to change even the grandfather. He begins to look after her as if she was a precious gift of God to him. Now, earlier he was living all alone, but after seeing Heidi's behavior, he also begins to look after her. He starts to take care of her as if she was a precious means valuable gift of God to him. He also started taking care of Heidi in a very nice way, as if she was a God's gift, valuable God's gift to him. The following is an extract from the classic Heidi by Johanna Spyri. Children, Johanna Spyri is a Swiss author. Her most famous novel is Heidi only. Right? So the story that we are going to read is an extract. Extract means a short passage or a short portion that is taken out from a bigger text. So the following is an extract. The story that we are going to read is an extract from the classic Heidi by Johanna Spyri. As soon as Heidi's aunt Date left her with her grandfather, the old man sat down again on the bench, blowing great clouds of smoke from his pipe. As Heidi stood watching him, he looked up and said, "What do you want?" Okay, children. So we can see that this is the little girl, Heidi. And this man, the old man, seems to be her grandfather. We can see that he lived in the Swiss mountains, the mountains that we can see in the background. So this is the picture of the story. So till now we have come to know that Heidi was taken because she was an orphan. She was taken to live with her grandfather. As soon as Heidi's aunt Date left her with her grandfather, the old man sat down again on the bench, blowing great clouds of smoke from his pipe. Okay, so who left her? Who left Heidi with his grandfather, with her grandfather? Yes, her aunt. What was the name of the aunt? Aunt Date. So, as she left her with her grandfather, the old man, this old man, that is the grandfather, he again sat down on the bench. He might be earlier sitting down on the bench, and he again sat down on the bench, blowing great clouds of smoke from his pipe. And he continued blowing smoke from his pipe. Yes, we can see a pipe in the hands of the grandfather. So he continued smoking from his pipe. As Heidi stood watching him, he looked up and said, "What do you want?" Heidi, a little girl, she was new to this place. So she stood watching him, watching his grandfather. He looked up, he looked towards her and asked her, "What do you want?" and asked her what she wanted. "I want to see what is inside the hut," she answered. "Come on then," he said, and he got up and led the way indoor. "Bring your bundle of clothes in with you," he added. "I don't need them anymore," she declared. "I want to be able to run as freely as the goats do." "Well, so you can," said the old man, "but bring the things inside all the same. Put the bundle in the cupboard." She picked them up and the two went inside. Okay. So as the grandfather asked Heidi what she wanted, he asked, "What do you want?" She answered, "I want to see what is inside the hut," she answered. So what did she answer? She said that she wanted to see what was there inside the hut. Children, that happens with all of us. that whenever we happen to go to a new place, we visit some place, or even if we visit our grandparents, so what do we want to know? Yes, wherever we go, whenever we visit a new place, we want to explore that place. We want to see what all is there. Yes? Similarly, in the same way, she answered that she wanted to see all that was inside the hut. They were standing till now. They were standing outside the hut. So she said that she wanted to see what was there inside the hut. Come on then, he said, and he got up and led the way indoor. Bring your bundle of clothes in with you, he added. So he said, come on then. So he invited her inside. He said, yes, you can come on. If you want to see, then come on. And he got up. As he was sitting on his bench, blowing clouds of smoke, he got up from there and he led the way indoor because it was his hut, it was his place. So he led the way. Led means he showed her the way indoor. Towards inside the hut. Bring your bundle of clothes in with you, he added. So the little girl, she had brought a bundle of clothes with her because she had come to stay with her grandfather. So he told him that you can bring your bundle of clothes in. That you can bring your clothes, whatever you have brought inside the hut. I don't need them anymore, she declared. I want to run. I want to be able to run as freely as the goats do. So she said, I don't want any clothes. I don't want them anymore. That she didn't want them. She didn't want that bundle of clothes anymore. She declared. Declared means she announced, I want to be able to run as freely as the goats do. She said that I want to be free. I want just nothing. I just want to be free and I want to roam. I want to be able to run as freely as the goats do. That means she did not want any foundation. She didn't want any restrictions. So she wanted to be as free as it was possible. Well, so you can, said the old man, but bring the things inside all the same. Put the bundle in the cupboard. She picked them up and the two went inside. So the grandfather said, yes, of course. Well, so you can. That means, of course, you can do that. But at least bring the things inside all the same. But then he said, but still, you have to bring the things inside. Put the bundle in the cupboard. So he told her that she should put the bundle of clothes in the cupboard. Yes, there has to be a place for everything. So he suggested him to keep that bundle of clothes in the cupboard. She picked them up and the two went inside. She followed what her grandfather said like a good girl and both of them went inside the hut. The hut was a large room from inside. There was a table and a chair and a bed in one corner. In another, she saw a stove over which a huge pot was hung. There was a door in one wall that the old man opened and she saw it was a large cupboard with his clothes hanging in it. Okay, as they went inside the hut was a large room from inside. So the hut was a big room from inside. What all was there in that room? There was a table and a chair and a bed in one corner. In one corner of the room, there was a table, a chair and a bed. In another, she saw a stove over which a huge pot was hung. In another corner of the room, in another corner of the hut, she saw a stove. A stove was there. I'm sure you must be knowing what is a stove. Yes, it is an apparatus for cooking or heating that operates by burning of fuel. She saw that a stove was kept and over the stove there was a huge pot that was hung. A huge pot was hung over the stove. There was a door in one wall that the old man opened, and she saw that it was a large cupboard with clothes hanging in it. So in one wall there was a door, and the old man, the grandfather, he opened that door, and then she saw, the little girl Heidi, she saw that it was a large cupboard with clothes hanging in it, and many clothes were hanging in that cupboard. So that must be the cupboard of that old man, that grandfather. Right, children? So what happened next? Where did she keep her clothes? How did she behave with her grandfather? For all these questions, we will continue the story in our next session. That's all for today, my dear children. You have to do the reading of this chapter. Okay? Take care. See you in the next session. Bye-bye.